Ryu Hanbin is the protagonist of the Sword King survival story. Little is known about him. Already 3 months ago, he returned from the army, where he spent 2 years. Ryu hoped that after these 2 years his life would change and that he would be able to move mountains. But the reality in relation to him turned out to be extremely cruel, which is why for all the time that he spent at home after the army, he was able to understand that he doesn't like anything. An ordinary and boring life filled with everyday life was depressing, which is why he stuck to games, killing time and wanting to somehow diversify everyday life. Suddenly, when he was sitting at a computer desk, he finds himself in a dark and incomprehensible place filled with people. The main character takes the bright light, blinding his eyes for God, and then he thought that he had gone to the other world. At the same time, someone from the crowd asks the question, "So few players? I heard there were supposed to be 7 billion candidates." A sound is heard and an inscription appears in front of the face, "Move the instruction." Ryu turned out to be the lucky one who had a glitch and an error in the manual, which is why he gets into the imitation of Zelda line as a player under number 398. A hellhound immediately pounces on him. They are monsters infesting the earth, which must be eliminated in order to earn points and somehow survive in this uninhabitable place. It's been a week since he got into Sira Ratha, but they didn't bother to tell him how to get back to this damn reality. Nothing has changed except that the level of these dogs has increased, which makes it harder to kill them. But the player was able to adapt to these conditions, as a result of which he received the ability to cut. His goal was level 5, because after reaching it, he will be able to move to another world, but already together with other participants, and also start the main game. After 27 long days and hard work, Ryu was finally able to get enough points for 5 Latvian lats. From the very beginning it was clear that the main character is lucky, but so much. An error occurred again, which is why, instead of the coveted level 5 and getting into another world, it was moved again to 1 Latvian lat. The skill points remained exactly the same, and the abilities also did not change. The hellhounds were getting stronger every time. At this point, the narration on behalf of the main character is interrupted by a person who is able to control the simulation. He notices a box that he himself does not remember, but it contained just the same photo of Ryu Hanbin. He realizes that he has left the hero in the same world for 22 whole years. Thoughts begin, how has Ryu not died yet? The manager scoffs with the phrase, "At level 4 on the rack to continent, he will die quickly." In the present, Ryu's experience increases dramatically, although her abilities remain the same. They don't give him time to think, because they abruptly move him to the northern part of the Rarch continent. Finding himself on a new continent, he was very happy, and he also had the skill of interpretation. The joy lasted until the realization that access to Ratha opens after level 20. A new monster appears abruptly, the blue dragon Ether. He hates when aliens get into his lands. The history of the Ether is as follows. He was the pride of all the knights until one accident. The stupid king constantly demanded to be ridden on a dragon. But flying is not a joke, because of which the king was overtaken by death. The knight who took care of the dragon was executed, but before that he helped the Ether escape from the kingdom. The dragon hid in the forest and began to live there, but he did not have time to be sad, because hateful aliens from another world appeared in this forest every now and then. They could not become worthy opponents to the natural dragon, but the Ether could not kill them all. The main character stubbornly begins to interrogate the poor dragon. To the question, is this the forest of Sath, the kingdom of Lut? Ether replies that the kingdom has been destroyed and now there is an Exrad. There was also a little more information about the aliens. For the first time they came to the world 40 years ago, that is, relatively recently, and for the sake of raising the level, the aliens began to kill the Ratine people, and at some point the strongest of the aliens gathered in a group and created the organization Great Of, the purpose of which was to kill goddesses, of which there are only 6. The aliens could kill enemies with the power of a dragon. And since they raised the level with each kill, no magic could stop their group under the leadership of a 100 level leader. Up to one very important point. Unexpectedly, they came to the 4 heroes of the continent. Lord of the Sword Beathal, Archmage Genobia, Assassin Karhan, Lord of Life and Death Halion. 4 heroes of the continents were killed one after another in a short period of time. After their deaths, the responsibility for the entire continent fell on the shoulders of the 6 goddesses. All this history led the main character to a logical conclusion. No matter what he tries to do, whether it's an attempt to negotiate or just live in peace, he will in any case be branded as a demon and beaten to death as soon as they recognize him as an alien. Ryu decided not to stay in the Sath forest. If you leave it, you can see the fortress walls towering above the horizon. This is the city of Onpros, located in the northern part of the kingdom of Ixrad. It is known for its large size and huge population. In the nearby Sath Forest and on the vast plains of the Ifan Valley, there were dungeons and hidden monsters wandering. There were a whole bunch of them. In the city of Onpros there was a guild of hunters in which people risked their lives for the sake of quick enrichment. Those who cross its threshold are either hunters or those who want to become them, or an alien from another world. As soon as Ryu entered the building, there was a lot of talk about a physically strong body, similar to the body of a veteran. As soon as the main character expresses a desire to become a hunter, the people in the building became alert, drawing their blades. We are transported 5 days ago to the forest to the dragon. They have a nice conversation, and the ether begins to teach Ryu about life on the continent. Even the most banal things have to be explained. For example, the fact that first of all a person should be wearing clothes. The dragon first had to start talking about the everyday life of this world. But Ryu is more interested in meeting the goddesses. In Ratha, only a few were granted their audience. First you need to get a blessing, like the 4 great heroes who stopped the invasion of aliens. When the Ompless demon is still strong, the only way to get a blessing is to become a hunter and kill all the monsters created by demons. Ryu mentions that his instructions also said that first you need to become a hunter. Ether is perplexed, because he does not even know what an instruction is. They move on to the topic of the Hunters Guild. The dragon assures Ryu that he should never behave like a foreigner. We are moving to the present. Now his name is Eric Harun and his biography consists of the fact that he was born in Gombil, which is in the northern part of the kingdom. The receptionist good-naturedly accepts Eric into the guild, but there is a small problem. The girl wanted to send a request to the previous guild, where Eric was before, and she had to transfer the data on the pedigree, as well as the birth certificate. She asks the question whether Ryu submitted documents there, to which he replies, no. The blonde looks at him strangely and asks, then why did you want to become a hunter? Don't you want to say that you didn't belong to any guild before? All the people in the building began to look at Eric as if he were prey, assuming that if he was not a hunter, then surely an alien. Ryu does not understand where he made a mistake and does not want to be the first to fight. The receptionist excitedly says that in accordance with the standards of the guild, she will test his skills. It is enough just to touch the verification stone located nearby. Eric immediately breaks into a sweat. They want to check if I'm an alien. If I am discovered here, there is no hope for a meeting with the goddess. I'm with ease. I can deal with everyone here, but instead of cowardly running away, Ryu resolutely touches the stone with thoughts that come what may. Nothing terrible happens, and it only became known how many skill points the main character has. There is also an image of his level on the stone. The 5th level. Everyone looks at him in shock, and someone even thinks that he will be able to kill the demon Omplas himself. Then they burst out laughing and sigh with relief, glad that Eric is not an alien. Usually the aliens have level 20, and they also named some remote villages as their place of birth. The size of the entrance fee is 300x or approximately 166,000. He gets a junior rank hunter badge. He is immediately offered to take a task, to which he excitedly asks if there are any tasks in the dungeons. Here their dialogue is interrupted by an arrogant guy with ashen hair, who is called Mr. Rod. He scoffs at the fact that the main character is going to go to a low-level dungeon while he is on the 27th. The girl offers Rod to accept Eric into his group of hunters, where Ryu will be able to perform light tasks. Rod also replies that there are no places in the group, because recently a new member joined them. Ryu had a huge and heavy sword, and Rod decided to ask how he was carrying such a big thing, and tried to pick it up. The strength turned out to be quite small for such a weight, and Rod literally hung while Eric easily showed how he was wearing it. This was observed by a man Bjork, who then summed up that Eric is so strong that he can destroy the whole building around. He offers to join his group because he has a mountain of muscles and that's what he was looking for. The man is a person with level 25 and consists of a team of 4 people, together with his participation. The story of how he collapsed thanks to monsters and dungeons is shown again. Most jobs are related to hunting monsters or materials obtained from them. There are 2 famous places in its vicinity, the dungeon in the Ifan Valley and the Sath Forest. There are several small villages near the latter, but the monsters do not cause them much harm and rarely attack the inhabitants. But recently, a large number of monsters have begun to be noticed in the vicinity of one of the villages. In order to find out the reason for what is happening and at the same time hunt for them, many hunters have arrived here from all over the country. Bjork is bleeding, but he is helped by his younger sister Yvonne Raffal with level 16 and the skill of a healer. The monster already wants to pounce on his sister, but the hammer of fire of another member of the team responsible for the rearguard, Hugo Crudas, who is a level 18 magician, does not allow him to attack the girl. York's band, a well-balanced team where everyone knows their place. In terms of the number of successful tasks, they are the first. They are also considered the most reliable group in the Onprosai. There are no better conditions for a novice hunter, so Eric joins the team, becoming a carrier responsible for muscles, that is, a fighter. Although he cannot directly participate in the battle due to the small level, the fee is still divided equally. Life becomes unusual while next to Yvonne pulls out a beating heart from a dead monster, wanting to get 15 X's for it. Eric would have vomited earlier, but it's already become a habit in the mountains. He is masterful with cooking products and declares that he has been practicing for more than 20 years. Yvonne anxiously asks how old he is now, to which he replies that he is only 24. Ryu tells his story, and the group supports him, saying that they will not have to suffer anymore, because now they are his family. He thanks them for it. York replies that there is no need to worry about the level, because 5 years ago he had level 25. You see, the same as he has now. Here in the vicinity, if you do not go to the dungeons, there are no strong monsters, because of the points and do not increase. They don't need to hunt more powerful monsters, unless the Dwalk is a lord. That's why they never go to the dungeons. Eric decides to get out to practice with a sword.